Okay, I believe we are live. I'm just going to test it because, okay, there we go.
Okay.
We're live. We're live. We're live.
Yay.
Okay, well, we are live. All right, so if you have your Facebook on, go ahead and click it off because it's going to have feedback for you. And
okay, I don't think I have it on at all.
Okay, awesome. Well, we are live. So hello, everyone. Welcome to the Expert Interview Series. I have Joan Ridsdel today with me, and she's going to be talking about creating a life that you crave. So this expert interview series brings online business owners to talk about one tip or strategy that is actually going to help you gain an instant result in your business if you implement it. So that's the kind of the catch, right? If you implement it, because we learn a lot of stuff. And when you're in that, I call it the spin cycle of learning, and you don't implement, nothing gets done. So these are little bite-sized pieces that you can take today and go implement it and see a result in your business. So I'm really excited about that. Let me introduce myself. My name is Lisa Meisels. I'm the host of this expert interview series, and I am the founder of Unleash Your Mojo Online. And I'm also the creator of the Empowered Living Show, which is an internationally acclaimed show. And I'm an online visibility strategist. So I help my clients get online and get noticed and get visible in front of their ideal audience so they can get clients. So if you have not already, tell us where you're from. If you could type into the comment section, tell us where you're from, or give me a GIF and let me know how you're feeling today. That's always fun. And if you haven't liked my page, I would really very much appreciate it if you would go ahead and go up there and go like my page, whether you are listening live or to the replay. I appreciate everybody that's here listening, and we've got a treat today. So Joan, welcome.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm just delighted to be here. I so appreciate this.
Oh, well, it's fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. And before we start, let me tell the listeners a little bit about you, so that we have a little bit of a background. So Joan Ridsdel is the founder and creator of Weiser Women Coaching and Personal Development. She specializes in private and small group coaching, and she partners with women to facilitate a transformation in their relationship with food and help them finally end their battle with emotional eating. Using tools, take these off, I guess. Using tools and proven techniques and winning strategies, Joan guides her clientele to make wiser choices and achieve their health goals and create a life that they crave. Joan's a registered social worker who has dedicated her practice to serving others. Today, she continues to deliver excellence in service as a certified professional life coach and encourages women to embrace and own their journey to healthy living. Joan's training includes reality therapy, choice therapy, NLP, and years of experience with other modalities and personal development work. Contact Joan for a complimentary Create the Life You Crave strategy session and find out if partnering with her is the right next step for you. Now, I will post her website on the comment link after we're done with this live interview. So if you want to contact her, you will be able to do that. So, Joan, welcome. Tell us a little bit about, tell us why you're doing what you're doing. What is it that brought you to do what you're doing with the Weiser Women?
Oh, thank you, Lisa. Well, it's been a bit of a long journey. I stepped into coaching just in the last couple of years, and how I got going with that was when I was probably in my 20s. A colleague suggested that I do some coaching or learn to coach, because it was just sort of getting off the ground at that point. That sort of tells you how old I am, though.
The longer the journey, the better we have, the more information we have to serve, right?
Exactly. That's a great reframe for that, for sure. So she suggested that I become a coach, and at that point I was just starting into my social work career, and I had small children and didn't have the money, and so I didn't. But I kept it in the back of my mind. And so fast forward to 2015, I realized that I wasn't happy with what I was doing. And so I decided that I would fulfill this long-term dream of becoming a coach. The question that kept coming up for me was, if not now, when?
Yeah.
And so with retirement just in a couple of years away, I decided that I would step into it. And so I did my training with Ericsson International and got through some of my training. And then our family had just a huge tragedy happen where my brother was murdered. Oh. And it was, it was a really challenging time, but it was the coach's training that I continued to work on, and it sort of kept me going. It kept me motivated and gave me something solid to work with. Yeah. And so it was a tragedy for us, and we're still, continuing to work on putting pieces together. But I realized from that life can change on a dime. Yes. And that it was really important to do something worthwhile and that I could be passionate about. And I think, I suddenly had this feeling of urgency that life was going to go by, and I was going to be older and retired, and what was there for me? And so coaching is something that I can do. I'm passionate about. Gives me the opportunity to continue working particularly with women, to give back to my community, to support women and men if they want to work with me. And I also know that, the counselor that I was working with after my brother's murder said to me, Joan, you never waste a good trauma. Trauma, although it's so challenging, is so much to us in terms of who we are, where we're going, what we want, etc. So I know that it gives me an opportunity, coaching does, through, to help me with support my passion and helping other people become the person that they want to be. It also gives me the ability. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur and a businesswoman and never had the opportunity to do that. And so here I am doing it. And I think of you, Lisa, with, that you did that. You worked for years and gradually, you stepped into your own power and what you decided to do. Yes. It's a wonderful experience.
It is a wonderful, it's a freeing experience. And it's like, why doesn't everybody do that? But I think that we're seeing a lot of change. I think that we're seeing the business model, the old outdated business model kind of changing, and people are, saying, this is not fulfilling me and I need to have a fulfilling work. I mean, I'm here on earth for some reason. Right. And the reason is not to be a worker bee for me. That's not my reason. And some people may be happy that way, but there are people that just need to help other people, and they have a real passion for their message. And it sounds like,
yeah, absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about Weiser Women. I mean, I love that name. And how did you come up with it? And what does it mean? Because I know it's the acronym, right?
Right. So I created Weiser Women Life Coaching and Personal Development really because of a recognition that when we're emotional eaters and overeaters, we tend to be disconnected from our inner resources. And particularly when it comes to our bodies and food and weight, right? We just totally disconnect. And so the acronym Weiser refers to our inner resources, where we have our inner wisdom, intuition, self-compassion, energy, and resilience. And I know that, as emotional eaters, food is either good or bad. I can't eat this, I shouldn't eat that. I should eat this, I should eat that. We judge ourselves by the number on the scale, and that number, it's crazy, but that number can make or break our day when we get on the scale in the morning. I think that, the feelings of shame and disappointment and disgust that we have become our constant companions when we're unsuccessful at losing weight or sticking to a diet or we've lost weight, but we can't maintain that weight. And so we go up and down and over and around in that roller coaster of dieting. And, you know, the cycle, that cycle of going around in circles, who wouldn't feel like a failure?
Well, it came to me, you know, it's interesting that you're talking about this, and I can totally relate to it, not necessarily with eating, but just with the shoulds and shouldn'ts in my life. It's like that's what I said I'm getting rid of in 2017. No shoulds and shouldn'ts, because that boxes us in, and it's black and white, and we're a failure no matter what we choose, because we should have done it and we didn't, or we shouldn't have done it and we did. You know, it's like, and so yeah, I can understand that it's not a good place to be.
It's a terrible place to be. And of course, you know, the old saying, you're shitting on yourself, right?
Yes. Yes.
And that's an old saying from when I started my social work practice, but you know, it's still there. We still use the shoulds and the shouldn'ts. And of course, I'm, you know, speaking from personal experience, and you know, I think back to being a young child when I learned to use food and gained weight and felt terrible about my body. But I used food to manage my emotions, manage my feelings, and really to protect myself. Mm-hmm. My first diet was at the age of 10. I started, I remember measuring out Special K and using only skim milk and just thinking, I have to lose this weight. And then I transitioned, the time I was about 18 or 19, to binging and purging. And, you know, the problem was that I was great. It was great. I got to my goal weight. I was 112 pounds, and which was a fabulous weight for me. Wow. But the problem was I looked in the mirror and I still saw a fat person. Yeah. And so really nothing had changed. And, you know, I was probably 112 pounds for about 3 minutes. I opened the fridge door and boom, I was done. I was back up and had gained the weight all over again. I continued to struggle with weight and dieting throughout university and my marriage and having 2 amazing children. And I thought I'd hidden my obsession with weight and food and diet successfully until it wasn't a few years ago, my husband mentioned that, you know, he recognized that I was still struggling with food and with weight. And of course, my son had struggled with weight as well. And so I hadn't fooled anybody. I was so disappointed. I thought, oh, darn, I haven't fooled anybody here. So what did I do? I decided to rejoin Weight Watchers for the umpteenth time, and I became a Weight Watcher again. And I, you know, my decision to do that was to finally resolve my issue around weight and food and to lose those unwanted pounds. And I wanted to be the best role model that I could be for my children. Even though they were adults by that time, I thought, no, it's really time for me to do it. So I lost weight, got down to a goal weight, which was great. And I kept it off for about 1.5 years. And then, of course, with my brother's tragedy, that just did it. And I put back all the weight I'd lost plus some more. And again, you know, that sort of catalyst that happens, something happens in your life and you just think, I don't want to do this anymore. I wanted to step off the diet roller coaster for good. And so I decided that life was too short. There was no more dieting for me. I finally recognized for good that it wasn't working. It never had worked. You know, going up and down with weight was crazy. Yeah. And so as I finally got it, I realized that it wasn't about the food at all. It was really about the way I thought about me and my body and weight, and about the strong core beliefs that we develop and that we believe, sometimes like I did from a very early age, that we're not good enough. You know, we need to survive, we need to take care of ourselves. And so, I mean, certainly it did its job. My core beliefs were really strong and kept me safe emotionally and psychologically. And yet it created such turmoil within me and stress and anxiety, which of course then, what do? Eat. Right? And so, you know, I recognized that not only was I holding on to some physical weight, but that there was a lot of emotional weight that I was carrying.
Yes.
And so now I'm happy that I have joined and embraced this journey, and that I can now share what I've learned and the tools that I've learned. And of course, as a social worker, I have a whole package and toolbox of stuff that I can work with people to help them really become free from emotional eating and stepping off that diet roller coaster for good. I want to be able to support women to really step into their power, fully.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important in our lives.
Yeah, and there's so much. I was just talking with one of my clients. There's so much gunk we have to clear away before we can really get to that place where we feel free and powerful, right?
Right, absolutely.
And I think that's one of the beauties of entrepreneurship, is that's the journey we have to go through to find ourselves and to be able to step out and say, this is who I am, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So how can this help? What is the tip or strategy that you have for the business owners, and how can this help business owners that are struggling? How does this impact your business when you've got emotional eating going on?
Well, if you've got some emotional eating going on, and you're using food to, really to squash those emotions and those feelings that you've got, and to deal with your stress and anxiety, you may not be as confident as you need to be, right? And so, my clients are really smart women who are tired of feeling that there's something wrong with them. You can't, it's really difficult to work or be an entrepreneur or a businesswoman and really step into your power confidently if you've got all this other stuff going on internally and within yourself. And so I think, the people that I work with and want to work with are those who are willing to, might even be afraid, a little bit scared of stepping into this journey, because change is hard, change is difficult. When you're forging a new path, you're forging new pathways in your brain, and that takes practice and it takes courage. But I want to be able to support people in transforming their core beliefs and the way they think about themselves and their bodies.
Yeah.
And excuse me. And I think when we can do that, when we can release the stress and the anxiety and transform those core beliefs, then we're able to step into our power more confidently, lose weight, and it happens naturally because we're not stuffing it all down with food. And then, of course, you're not using food to be confident, and you can step into your entrepreneurship.
Yeah, and that's, it's really important what you just said about not stuffing things, because whether you're stuffing it with food or anything else, when you're stuffing your emotions, they pop up somewhere else, and they're going to pop up and show up in your business as not enough clients, not enough money, not enough something, because it's mirroring back what is happening within inside of you, right?
Absolutely. When you go out to meet people and network, you need to be able to be confident about who you are. And if you're not confident about your body, if you're not confident about your emotional state, and you're constantly worried about, am I going to be able to manage this? Am I going to be able to speak? Are people going to judge me for being overweight? Then it's difficult.
Right? It is. So do you have a tip or strategy that they can implement that will give them an instant result?
Yeah. So first of all, I wanted to say that, I've created a signature program called Join the Journey. And and it's really tailored to helping women release those stuck core beliefs, transform emotional eating, and get off that diet roller coaster for good. And it's about making conscious, wiser choices. The tool that I have for people is really a simple, and yet it's a very powerful tool. Right. So, we've probably all of us have used affirmations, where it's a positive statement that you repeat on a regular basis. Well, this tool takes it up a notch a bit, or another level, where your listeners can find affirmations, and it's with an O, so affirmations.
Okay.
And I'm not going to say much about it because I think it's really good to be able to go to my blog, and which is at joanridsdel.com / / is that the backslash?
/ I'll put it in the notes. Excuse me. I'll put it in the notes above in the comments.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you. And it's in my blog. And so they'll be creating all kinds of solutions and stepping into their power by asking an affirmation. And so instead of a statement, it's a question. So I can say more about that. Yeah.
That's awesome. So what kind of exciting things do you have coming up besides your journey program? Is there anything else on the horizon for you?
Yeah, well, I offer a free Create the Life You Crave discovery call. So I'm really happy to spend time with women if they're interested in chatting with me about their journey, or if they're wanting to join the journey. And I think it's, the new year. It might be a great time to join this journey. And, when we're on the call, we'll chat about what's right for them in terms of the journey, and whether they're willing to step off the diet roller coaster, and whether I'm the right fit for them, because that's really important when you're working with somebody.
Especially with that emotional stuff, because that's so personal, right?
Absolutely, yeah. But it would be my honor to chat with to your listeners if they're interested, and so my signature program is coming out, and it's a program that I'm really passionate about, because not only does it look at 3 areas of self-care, your body and your mind and emotions, but it also, I start where the client is, because I think that, we all need to start where we are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, is this a group program, or are you doing a launch? Is there a specific date that you're launching this?
I'll be launching this at the beginning of February.
Okay.
But in the meantime, it's all of the work that I do on an individual basis with people. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. And I'm just really excited about coaching. This is something that I've wanted to do, as I mentioned before, for a very long time.
Yeah. And, I mean, you do it anyway with your social work. It's just kind of switching things up, right?
Yeah, it is exactly. It is exactly.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I am really excited to go check out your formations. I think that's brilliant. And so we're going to put that in the comment section for listeners, so everybody can just click on the link, and then also your discovery session link. We'll put that in the comments as well. And so yeah, thank you so much, Joan. And thank you also to all of you viewers who are there. And if you haven't liked the page, I would really appreciate it if you would like the page, if you could comment and ask some questions. And if you have questions, you can tag either myself or Joan. And if you have specific questions for Joan, you can just write them in the comments and tag her, and let us know what you think. Let us know how you liked this, and what it brought up for you, what kind of ahas you had. And spread the word. If this is something that that you think is going to be beneficial to friends or family, co-workers, please go ahead and share the link, share the page, so that everybody can come and watch the video and get some tools so that they can have an instant result in their business. So we will see you next time. We're live every Wednesday and Friday. And I will see you, Joan, I'll see you, well, we'll see each other around.
Okay. Thank you so much, Lisa.
You're welcome. And thank you to the listeners. We'll see you next